talk a little bit more about Arctic frost. Let's bring in one of our chief White House correspondents here. We've got James Rosen with us. James, we now know that this is out there. We have the receipts from this, but now you've got senators. They're saying that this is worse than Watergate. I want to get your reaction to this cover in the Hill.
Well, John and Katrina, good to be with you. I have experience, as you just alluded to, having been the subject of weaponization by the Obama administration. I'm ashamed to tell you, I spent 17 years researching and finally producing a book about Watergate. That's called The Strong Man, John Mitchell and the Secrets of Watergate. So I bring a lot of experience to this particular question you raise. This certainly is worse than Watergate in the sense that the sheer spread of it, the sheer footprint of this surveillance that was unleashed by the Department of Justice and the FBI during the Biden administration against what appears to be the entire Republican establishment. In Watergate, people forget that it was a break-in at Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate office complex. The burglars were arrested in June 1972, and the scandal played out from there. But that was also a wiretapping operation where the Democratic National Committee offices, actually just one telephone, were wiretapped for about 3 weeks in the spring of 1972. So again, you compare those two events, and from any dispassionate historical perspective, there really isn't any comparison.
And James, I'm sure there's absolutely no comparison when the person targeted is you. And you know, we hear all these stories, but it is nearly impossible to imagine what going through that experience must be like. I know it was harrowing for you, to say the very least. For people who may not realize what exactly happened with the Obama administration and Eric Holder, please tell us your story.
Sure. Well, at the time, I was a reporter for Fox News. I was covering the State Department principally, and I published a series of exclusives both on foxnews.com and then in television appearances, reporting on various aspects of North Korea, its nuclear program, its succession plan for Kim Jong-un, which was eventually implemented. And the FBI began investigating my sources for that series of exclusive reports. And in the end, they zeroed in on an individual at the State Department who they identified as my source. They ransacked his office while he was out of it. And also they basically used an FBI agent to swear in an affidavit in support of an application before a federal judge for a search warrant so that they could rummage through all of my phone records, all of my Gmail accounts, etc. And in that application for that search warrant, the Obama administration did something that had never happened before in American history. I was designated in that court filing as a criminal co-conspirator in a violation with my alleged source, in a violation of the Espionage Act of 1917 for publishing classified information. Now, to give you an idea of how unprecedented that was, in 2009 or thereabouts when that filing happened, not even Neil Sheehan, the New York Times reporter who won the Pulitzer Prize in 1971 for publishing the Pentagon Papers, 7,000 pages of classified documents hitting the front pages of the New York Times. Not even the Nixon administration designated Neil Sheehan, that reporter, as a violator of a criminal co-conspirator, which is the words they used in my case, in a violation of the Espionage Act. It had never happened before. Ultimately, it was revealed that Eric Holder, the Attorney General at the time, had signed off on that novel designation, basically criminalizing a working reporter for doing his job. There was a call for his resignation. President Obama, in what passed for accountability in that whole episode, gave a speech at National Defense University on counterterrorism. This is May 2013, when all of this had hit the newspapers. And he pronounced himself troubled by the notion of a reporter being criminalized for doing his job. And so he announced a review of how this came to be, and he placed in charge of that review Eric Holder. Eric Holder, as it turned out, 5 days before all of this broke in a Washington Post article where I learned about all this spying on my family and me as well, 5 days before, he had testified before the House Judiciary Committee, the Attorney General of the United States, and he was asked about the potential prosecution of members of the news media for the unauthorized disclosure of classified information, and the Attorney General testified on that occasion. In terms of the potential prosecution of a member of the news media for the unauthorized disclosure of classified information, Holder said, that's not something I've ever heard of, been involved in, or would think would be wise policy. There's a plain word for that. It's called perjury. And in the end, they got access to 20 phone lines or so that I was using, and also to the phone lines of my parents on Staten Island, who remain with us. They are now married 63 years, and they live closer to us now.
Well, we love that, and you have quite the gift for impressions.
I was going to say,
as well, James.
You crushed that Obama.
Yeah, James, thanks for sharing that with us. Again, I can't imagine what it was like, and I know there's a lot more to the story. But again, thanks for joining us on American Agenda. Appreciate it.
Thanks, James.
And we do have
Thank
some.
you.